KHOP88 is on the air. It's happening again.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, happy Tuesday. The last day of the Donald Trump administration. This is an apolitical show. I'll just point that out.
That's all I'm saying.
The historical footnote.
I think it's okay for the guests to be political.
No question.
Okay, cheer if you want to. Sorry.
Okay. Marnie.
Jeez.
We have another show. We have another show with three great friends from our high school. Yeah. We have Denise Peterson, Stacy Semler, and Joy Geislinger, all joining us from well, I don't think we got a geographic location from you, Joy.
I'm in St. Louis Park, so not
St. Louis Park. Gotcha. So all from the Twin Cities suburbs. How are all of you tonight?
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
You were mentioning to us earlier that you all, this is not strange for you, although maybe during the pandemic it is, but you guys are part of a group that gets together once a month. How long? So Denise, how long has that been going on?
We kind of got back together in 1998, so 10-year reunion, and we've been doing it once a month ever since.
That's fantastic. And so you guys aren't getting sick of each other yet, Stacy?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, Joy, so tell us about, look, of this group and what you guys do. You mentioned that you go out to dinner and meet, various places around town. What's like the most sort of adventurous thing that you guys have done as a group?
Well, most of us went to Las Vegas. Denise wasn't able to go on that trip, but that was probably the most adventurous, I'd say.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
We're due for another trip.
We're due for another girls' trip.
That's very cool. My husband is from Las Vegas, so I know a little bit about it. So you said Denise couldn't come, but were there other women from our class who joined you when you went to Vegas?
Yes, Amy Schaefer and Chris Kennedy.
Cool. Okay, so what do you remember? Where did you stay?
Oh, gosh.
Imperial Palace, which is not there anymore, I don't think.
oh, yeah.
Did you see any shows?
We did, I think, didn't we?
I
That's a long
think we
time
would
ago.
have had. Did we see Blue
Marnie,
Group?
Marnie,
Oh,
what
yeah.
happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Right?
Yeah,
Oh,
we can't tell you what happened.
I brought my boyfriend to California from Vegas, and there we are.
Good rescue.
Nice.
It seems to me that on somebody's Facebook page, I saw at least some combination of you guys in Africa, maybe. Is that right?
Yeah.
What?
So tell us about that trip.
Well, so my sister, her husband actually works for the Foreign Service, so he works in the embassies. So 2 years ago, Stacy went with me, and they were living in Malawi at the time. And so we went to Malawi, and actually we spent more time in Zambia than we did in Malawi. But we did the safari thing. We got to see Victoria Falls and had an awesome time.
Wow. I've never been to Africa. So what is the difference between Zambia and Malawi? Like casually.
For our experience, it was really just, that's where the safaris were. When we were in Malawi, we stayed at Denise's sister's house, and we shadowed a public health nurse for most of a day. She was going to visit some women who had recently had babies, just for a checkup for the mother and the baby. I think one of them had triplets, didn't she?
Yes, that's the one house we went in.
Wow. I've never been to Africa. Have you, Joy?
No, not yet. Maybe next time I'll go.
Jason, have you been to Africa?
No.
Me neither.
And that was my third time, and what, Stacy's second time?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Tanzania in 2008 with my mom.
Why?
For a safari. She was part of a big travel group, and I think that group went on trips like once a year, and I had been wanting to go to Africa, and they were planning to go to Tanzania, so I just joined in.
Wow, that's so cool. You're giving me the travel bug now. And who is this cute little terrier who's joined us?
This is Lita, and she's bugging me because we say hi. They can't see the computer for some reason. Like,
Mhm.
they'll just come and go. Sorry.
She knows. She knows she's being talked about, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm getting the travel bug. So during the pandemic, is it hard not to travel? Or do you have a fantasy? I'll be more positive. Do you have a fantasy trip post-pandemic era? Any of you?
I have several.
Okay, tell us all of them.
Last year, several of us turned 50, and we had talked about possibly doing a girls trip for our 50th birthdays. And of course, that got kind of ixnayed with COVID. And I had a couple other trips planned with some other friends. Same thing for my 50th birthday, and those got totally canceled. So I just want to go somewhere. I don't even care where.
Okay, but if you had to pick one place right now, where would you go, Joy? And we would all join you.
I've never been to Hawaii, and I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. So I'd probably pick Hawaii right now.
I support that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
me
there.
too.
How about you, Denise and Stacy? Do you have post-pandemic travel fantasies?
Well, I would go to Iceland because that's where my sister is now. So I love the fact that she gives me reasons to travel places I would Iceland is maybe a little more attainable. I'm not sure I would have ever gone to Rwanda or Malawi without her going.
So she still works in the foreign service and she just keeps moving around the
Her
world?
husband does, yes.
Oh, her husband. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they were at 3 different places in Africa and now Iceland. So
That's quite a contrast. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah, yes, culture shock for sure.
Yeah. All right, Stacy, it's up to you.
Well, I had trips booked for Puerto Rico and Australia, and I'm hoping to go back to both, but especially Australia. I've never been there, and I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we had this little trip that we planned before the pandemic to go to Montreal this summer, and waited sort of to see what was going to happen, and then called it off. And just again this weekend, my wife was like, "What's the deal with those tickets? Like, can we use it's this whole credit thing."
Yeah.
Thankfully, we bought tickets through Delta, which is like the best airline, and they just things are pretty cool with them. Some other airlines, I'm told, are a little more complicated. But
Definitely.
Marnie, what's your bucket list travel?
I have to say, people, that living on the West Coast, it's so beautiful that I really don't have giant travel desires.
What?
We have beaches, we have mountains, we have warm weather. I mean, really, it's such a
Wildfires, as the aforementioned wildfires, earthquakes.
yeah, but you can drive away from them, sort of, kind of.
True.
No, I'm okay. I would say my post-pandemic fantasy is going to some great concerts or live performances. I really miss the theater.
Yeah, that's true for me too. Well, let's check in here. I haven't checked in with our crowd.
Yes, you're not multitasking, so it's up.
Chad Alt is in here, and she's talking about Joy and her 80s cruise. Tell us what that's about.
Well, last year I went on a cruise with another friend. It was the 80s themed cruise, and it was so much fun. Everything from bands from the 80s to, food and clothes, and they had dress-up nights. I mean, it was a blast. And so I don't know if any of you have been on a cruise before, but when you're on the cruise, if you book for the next year, you get a big discount. So we did that, but of course this year it's canceled. So it's now supposedly in 2022, but hopefully cruise lines will still be, in business then.
We'll see.
Yeah.
That's the scariest form of travel in this sort of era that we
I know. And we did have a girl kind of in a group that we were hanging out with that we met, that she did test positive a week when we got back. So me and my friend, obviously we quarantined for sure, but we never got it. I didn't get it till, I had it in October, November last year. So, but yeah, it was really
Yikes.
fun. I highly recommend the 80s cruise. You can Google it. It's a blast.
Yeah, I have never been on a cruise. My wife, I think, is completely opposed for just like claustrophobia, like the particular type of claustrophobia of being on the open sea at the same time, I think is the concern there. But yeah, that would be, so, okay, so there's your 80s cruise. Katie Keene weighs in to say hello to everyone. It's Stephanie Johnson Supus is here.
Stephanie, she's my
Neighbor.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we help each other watch each other's dogs a lot.
Oh, that's a good relationship to have, of course. And Chad is in, and Troy Finn, of course, who joins us every week. So it's good to see the regulars back. So what else have you guys been up to? This is the question that we always have for people is what have you done in the pandemic that you didn't do before? What have you picked up, any hobbies or weird habits or anything like that?
I kind of got back into,
Sorry.
I should have called on people. Yeah. Go ahead, Stacy.
I got back into tennis for a while. During the summer, I went to a public court and just hit against the backboard. And other than that, actually, I just bought a like a piano keyboard, and it comes with online lessons. So I've just started that. So
have you played the piano before in your life?
I did when I was a kid.
Okay.
But I never really learned how to play the bass clef or the left hand.
Yeah.
I just started that this past weekend.
That's great. I thought about doing that exact thing. Like, yeah, this would be a good time to learn how to play piano, right? So that's cool that you're making that work.
Yeah, it's fun.
Denise, what about you?
I started sewing masks, and I've sewn probably over 100 of them.
And what do you do with them when you're done sewing them?
I've given them and sold them to family and friends. I've sold probably half of them at work.
Yeah.
There's a few people who keep, even just last week, do you have any more left? And I had 4 left, and he's like, I'll take them all.
And do you sell them online at all?
No, I haven't. I mean, I do have Etsy shops. I do beadwork, and so I have Etsy shops, and I've thought of adding them there, but I never have had them long enough to put any online. So,
right.
Is there something unique about your mask designs?
No, in fact, the kind I make the most, I don't even wear myself because I keep trying different ones, trying to find the ones that fit me best and most comfortable. And I'm not a seamstress by any means. So
now I hear you say Etsy shops. You have more than one Etsy shop? Why? Which ones are they? So we can find them.
I am Dieter the Beater. And so I make jewelry, Christmas ornaments, rosaries, wine glass charms, all kinds of things with beads. And then because of that, and the fact that for quite a while I made a lot of wedding jewelry, and I needed to order a lot of colored pearls, I ended up with a ton of extra beads. So I also have Dieter's beads where I'm selling extra beads. And actually now sometimes I buy beads to resell them.
And didn't your jewelry business did that start with the paper beads from Rwanda? I started doing things before that, but then my sister sent me some paper beads. So the women in Rwanda hand make the paper beads. They take a really long, thin triangle of paper, roll it up, and it becomes a bead. And so she sent me those to start, and I started using them. I just a couple weeks ago made, so this is one of my snowflakes.
Oh, cool.
And so these bigger purple ones are paper beads.
Nice.
And so then when I went to see her in Rwanda, I got to work with the women there and see firsthand how they make the beads and show them some things I make. And so
Well,
I
that-
like seeing that you have your jewelry on.
Yeah, that's why it's appropriate. Well, these are glass beads
Yes.
from the Murano, Italy. They blow
Oh,
them on the
nice.
island of Murano.
Oh, pretty.
Oh, wow.
Neat.
Yeah.
How about you, Joy?
Is this now, do you consider this a side hustle, or is this just a hobby that you bring in a little bit of cash for? What's the, what percentage of your life does this work take up now, Denise?
Well, it's, I do work part-time and so I work 3 days a week, and I'm supposed to be doing this a couple days a week if I do, but I end up doing other things. So it's kind of ebbs and flows with the time and what I feel like doing. And some of it, I actually enjoy doing it sitting in the car while we might be going up north to visit my parents, or sitting and watching TV, or depends on if people want something or not, or if I have time.
Yeah,
Well,
nice.
well, I have to add a beading comment, Denise and everyone.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of knitting in the pandemic. So you can see the yarn dye on my hands.
Ah,
But there's this designer I'm following who threads beads onto her knitted garments.
Oh, sure.
oh, wow.
I should send you the link, Denise, so you can see. She's this Danish woman. I'm like on the verge of like wanting to do it, and then just like trying to hold back my pandemic, I don't know, guilty pleasures.
Right. No, that sounds cool.
How about you, Joy?
Well, let's see. Probably the biggest thing I started was I started online dating because I had all this extra time. So
Yes.
that's been very interesting.
Is that
Very-
said in like the Minnesota, it's pretty interesting kind of way?
Yeah, well, I haven't really dated. I was in a relationship for a long time, and I haven't dated for probably like 16, 17 years. So
Yeah.
Oh.
back then there wasn't apps or anything like that. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like I know Denise and Stacy know some of the stories. But I've went on several dates. I've met several men from other cities too, like in Minnesota, like northern cities, and I've gotten a couple good friends now already that, you know, we just didn't match like as a couple, but we are still friends. So that's been kind of fun to just meet different people.
That's how I met my husband. It wasn't a dating service, but I met him online, and we knew each other for a year before we went on our first date in
Oh, wow.
Vegas.
Cool. Was it was long distance?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, and we were like we were like chatting for a year. And then my plane got accidentally stranded in Vegas. So that's how we actually met.
Ah,
That's very cool. It gives me hope.
What?
I said it gives me hope that there's, you know,
Well, I'm
normal
kind
dates out there.
well, I'm kind of saying it because it's interesting. My daughter, who's 14, she's met 3 friends, and they are friends on the internet, and they live in different states. But like, I can hear them like laughing and talking about anime. I mean, you know, it's possible, especially in this particular year, for us to like meet, you know, have different ways of getting to know each other. So
yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day too, like, well, just in my current life, there's all these people that I know who, you know, I guess they're friends, but they're more like people that I just, like, I never really talk to them unless I run into them. And Madison's a smaller city, and I live, you know, in a part of the city where a lot of these people live that I've known for a long time. And that's one of the things that I really miss is just the incidental run-ins that, you know, you go to a big block party or something, you're inevitably going to run into people. And, you know, there were tons of us in high school who were, you know, sort of related to each other in that way too. Like maybe we weren't hanging around friends all the time, but we had classes together and we got to know each other and we were friendly. And you know, kids run into each other that way. And that's how, you know, they have this sort of expansive network based on, you know, I have my really close friends and some other friends and some other friends. And that beyond a certain ring, right? We don't have those interactions at all anymore, unless you make it a point to do like this. So the online dating thing is really interesting. That's just, you know, like making connections with people in different ways. That isn't like dating the last time I was dating, which was, going to club or, go
Yeah,
to
no.
bars.
Well, now that you kind of looking back to our olden days, so how did the three of you first get to know each other?
Denise and I met in junior high, probably band, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I-
Stacy, did you play the flute?
Did.
Okay, I remember that. And then Denise, what did you play, Denise?
Clarinet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joy, were you in band also?
No, I was not in band. I think I met both of these two through Amy and Chris, because I had I was really good friends with Chris, and then I got to be friends with Amy from being in classes together, and she was really good friends with Stacy and Denise. So that's kind of how we met. Don't remember how it happened. It just kind of happened, and then we've just been friends ever since.
Feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
And was it high
In a
school?
good way, right?
Not very nice, Denise.
And so was this in high school or in junior high?
Junior high.
Junior high.
Okay, now I'm just being honest. North or west?
North.
North.
With me. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Right? I don't even remember. Okay, now I have a question for Joy. So I've been learning from our guests that our homerooms were alphabetical. Joy, were we in the same homeroom?
I don't remember.
I have no memory of our high school homeroom. Do you remember who your high school homeroom teacher was, Joy?
It was somebody down in the weird wing where it was like, auto shop and
The weird wing.
Oh yeah, I wasn't in the weird wing. Okay, it wasn't have like some, G, E, and GL were different.
Yeah, it was a man. I can't remember. He was kind of loud and boisterous. I don't remember his name. But I don't know I don't remember your locker being by mine, so then I don't know if you were in my homeroom, because
I
usually
don't
we're
think so.
by the people by our lockers.
Yeah. There must have been some divide in the G's.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny because you guys are not the only two who don't have any memory of homeroom. The one thing that we did every single day of high school for 3 years daily. And I remember my homeroom teacher vividly, Mrs. Keller, who taught note hand and shorthand and stuff. And it's not because she had a big personality. It was just because you said good morning to her every day for 3 years.
I can picture him. I just can't remember what his name was.
Funny. Okay, so we have a great question here from the audience. Jim Sexton says that Stacy had an unusual pet growing up.
I was just
That's all he
thinking, I
said.
know he commented on that at the reunion. I was just thinking about that the other day. We had a pet tarantula
Whoa.
when I was younger.
How long and whose idea was that?
Oh, I'm sure it was my mom's idea. I'm pretty sure that was in elementary school, because we had show and tell back then.
Yeah.
And I brought Sally, the tarantula, show and tell.
I remember seeing the tarantula though, so I don't know.
Yeah, she lived quite a while. I don't know what the life expectancy is of a tarantula, but we had her for quite a while.
And so why was this your mother's idea? Was she a spider person? Spider woman?
No. I don't know. I think she just liked animals, and
It was small.
we also took care of a neighbor's boa constrictor, and we had the normal cat and dog and a bunch of rodents. And
Your mom was a teacher, right, Stacy, or she worked in the schools somehow?
Yeah,
Because your
she
mom knows mine or knew my mom.
Oh, yeah, she was the gifted coordinator for the Hopkins School District.
That's right.
And was her last name Semler too?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do any of you want to share any teachers that you appreciate? It doesn't have to be a high school teacher, a North teacher, an elementary school teacher that influenced your life.
I I was actually reminded of this by watching your show. You had mentioned Dorothy Welch. I don't remember which episode it was, but
A couple of them.
yeah, that connection with her greatly influenced my life because she helped me get connected. As a senior in high school, I would go to school in the morning and then I went to a recording studio in the afternoon. And she helped make that connection and was basically the teacher for that class. And so my senior year of high school, I went to the recording studio in the afternoon. I wanted to be a recording engineer at the time. And then I worked there for a while after that. And then 13 years later, I ended up getting a job from my mentor back then and worked in the recording school business from 2003 to 2011. And some of the connections I made back in high school, some of the musicians that would record there were teachers at the school years later, and a lot of them are my friends now. And so that was having her help make that connection was like greatly influenced my life.
Wow. You rendered Jason speechless.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. Well, it's a different kind of connection than a lot of the teachers that we've heard about, right? Like, 'cause it's the, it's a connection outside of school, a networking kind of thing, which is not like took place in the classroom necessarily.
Wait, okay, I have to follow up. I want to hear from Denise and Joy. Okay, so you got to skip school in the afternoon and go work in the world?
Well, that was my school. I got school credit for that. But yeah.
That's amazing.
Like, how did you not know that was a choice?
Well, they were telling me all sorts of crazy stuff about like Toni Morrison. I mean, I've learned so much about what was going on. I had no idea,
Yeah.
right?
I know. That's been really fun watching your show. There's so much that went on.
Okay, and
I just had no idea.
And did you say you were at Pace? Did you have your Prince interaction? Was that you?
I never met Prince, but we actually went there. The studio I was interning at was double booked basically, so we went to Paisley a few times.
Cool.
And they asked me to intern there, but I turned them down.
Why?
I think I just felt loyal to my mentor at the time and for them providing me the opportunity I had. And I think some of it was because I was so naive back then and I was like, oh, I don't know what it's going to be like working for Prince or.
So did you ever fully engineer a whole record, like start to finish, produce it, or what? I don't even know the term.
I was mainly a gopher.
Okay.
In high school, for one of my projects, I mixed a song that someone else recorded. That was I think that was my final project.
Okay.
Hey, how about you, Denise and Joy? Was there a teacher that influenced you? It's okay if no is the answer.
Joy, go ahead.
Well, the only thing that comes to mind is I actually transferred to Tanglin when I was in 5th grade, and I came from a Catholic school, so very sheltered, very shy, and I just remember Mrs. Ward at Tanglin just like noticing me and helping me and giving me some extra attention because she could clearly see that I was kind of overwhelmed sometimes in 5th grade with everything. And then I think high school, the one I remember the most is Mr. Bosacker. Just it was a P&A class. I mean, the way he taught and the way, I learned so much from him, the way he taught, it was just, and he was just very inspiring. I know that me and Chris Kennedy, we were together in that class, and you know, he kind of picked on us a lot because we kind of, you know, messed with him a lot, but he was a really good guy. And I know a lot of people liked him when I think he taught or coached football too. And he was a football coach. So
he was one of the favorite teachers, I think.
He was just really good. And he always seemed like he was crabby and mad, but he was just like the greatest teacher.
All right, Denise.
All right. Well, first, I would have to say my dad. And I actually have a special shout out for Troy Finn from my dad. I'm not sure if he ever knew at the time, but my dad taught auto mechanics at Hennepin Tech. And so some of our classmates went out there, and Troy and Todd Finn were in his class. So I was talking about doing this, and my dad said, well, make sure to tell Troy hi. So hi.
Nice.
But my dad definitely had an influence on me, even though I was never officially his student. Of course, at home, I was his student, and I definitely learned some things about fixing cars and other mechanical things that have definitely benefited me in my life.
So he taught auto mechanic at Hennepin Tech for like his whole career.
30 years he taught
Wow.
at various vocational schools.
Okay. And so, I mean, the thing about like people who teach auto mechanics is, you know, they don't get to sort of specialize, right? They have to know a lot. They have to and stay up to date, I would imagine.
Right.
Over the years.
And now with, you know, cars that the computer, you know, controlled everything, and it's a totally different deal than back then. So
yeah. So has he ever helped you out? Have you gotten some free work out of him over the years?
Yeah. And I actually have a feeling that maybe Troy and Todd worked on my car back then too, because he was able to take it in and, you know, get things done. And yeah.
That's cool.
And then in high school, my person I would say is Mrs. Meyer from Spanish. A little bit of a different relationship with her because Amy and I went on the Spain trip senior year with her.
Okay, now this is interesting to me because you are one of the first humans who have admitted they studied Spanish.
Yes.
And that you went to Spain. Yeah. Okay, so was it as crazy as our France trip?
Well, I can't say for sure, but it definitely had its moments. Yes. We could buy alcohol in what are those called? Even dispense. You know, you put money in.
Oh, like a vending machine.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Yes, it was interesting, and we got to see a different side of her than most students would have. So,
wow.
What do you mean?
Senora Meyer.
Senora Meyer, right. I dropped Spanish by the time I was a senior.
Okay.
And now I'm totally regretting that because I forgot that you guys went to Spain.
There was only 7 of us from our school, and 2 weren't even in our grade.
Okay, wow. Stacy and Joy, were you on the France trip?
No.
What year did you go to France? Was it 88, our senior year?
There was only one time. It was just all years. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It was earlier than senior year, I think.
Junior year, probably.
I went senior year. My spring break was the French trip, and of course you had to be in French to go. So I was in like Spanish 4 and French 1, so I could go to the French trip. So I think me and Chris was on it, and then 2 other girls from our class, Lori Anderson and what was it? Oh, Shelly Krzyzika.
And Lori,
we were the only 4 seniors on it that year. Everyone else was like juniors and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, that wasn't the wild trip. Oh, cool. Well, it's good to know there was a Spain trip.
Yeah, and that.
Where did you go in Spain?
We went all over. We started out on the coast, and then that was actually my first time in Africa. We went across the Strait of Gibraltar into Morocco to Tangiers. And we just spent an afternoon. Basically, we went on a bus tour. We ate a meal there and whatever. But I was like, hey, I've been to Africa. never
Wow.
knowing I'd go back later. But then we went to Toledo, we went to Seville, we ended up in Madrid. So we did an overnight train between a couple of those towns, and then Amy unfortunately got pickpocketed on the subway on the
that's
metro.
right.
So she spent the whole day with Senora Meyer getting her passport, or not even a passport, but a way to get home. And basically I was told, you can't spend any more money because we don't know what kind of money Amy's gonna have to pay when she gets into the country. So it was like, save all the money you can because we don't know.
Yeah, no ATMs then, no
No.
ability
No.
to get, yeah.
Right.
Wow, that's
didn't
great,
No issues, but that made it interesting also.
right?
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds great. We have not heard anything about the Spain trip until now.
Yeah.
So this is good info for sure.
Yeah.
Just a couple other people weighing in here. Karen Koski, Hintermeister, in to say hello, chiming in, and Tisa Kopstein in the room as well, saying hello to everyone.
Hi.
Karen McIntyre, Jessica Warren, and Kate Stelmach, aka Kathy Cheetah.
Kathy Cheetah, Kate Stelmach,
Cheetah.
come on for my birthday party show, I hope.
Oh, wait,
Nice.
we're
I'm
booking
planning
that
on it.
already, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm the last one to be 50.
Yeah, Marnie's younger than everyone. Yeah, we haven't talked about the 50th birthday party thing. Did anybody have a really good 50th birthday party, or did you all suffer through it in the pandemic?
Quarantined.
Yeah.
Marnie,
Yeah.
when is your birthday?
May 23rd.
Oh,
I didn't tell her that she's going to Kate that she'll be on my show, but we're going to work on it.
Right.
Well,
Plenty of
this
notice.
is so wonderful. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us or the world or each other, or anything you wanted to ask each other?
no. I
No.
think we ask each other every month, if
Yeah,
not
we see each other
more
every month,
frequently. But thanks for having this show. It's been so fun watching and just like finding out what's going on with everyone.
And what we missed in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we missed a lot of parties and things that we obviously didn't get invited to. But it's been fun to see people that you knew in high school a little bit, but didn't know a lot about them, and just hearing them talk about what's been going on and everything, and what was going on in high school. That's been really fun.
I loved hearing about the parties where I forgot who was it, cleaned before her mom came home.
Yeah, Jennifer Marasik's house. That's
Jennifer
great.
Marasik cleaning before her mom came home. That was really, we missed. I would have helped Jennifer. I was not there either. That's cool.
Nobody had Mission Impossible parties like they did, apparently. And we're learning more about this, but yeah. Marnie, you prepared a list of who's coming up in the weeks to come here.
Oh yes, Jason and I prepared everyone.
Who is it? Who is coming up? Who's
I'm
on
giving
next week?
A dramatic pause.
Okay.
Next Tuesday, Tanya Peterson and Mary Leighton and Keelan. Cool. February 2nd, the epic hockey team show.
Emails have been exchanged about that just this week, so that doesn't mean anything other than Andy Puchner apparently has 2 Facebook profiles. Valuable information is changing hands.
February 9th, we have made our second exception to welcome Mel Jacobson to the show. February 16th, Chad Alt and a surprise guest. And the rest of you get ready. I'm ready to book you for March.
That's right. We're putting together, we're forging through to spring. It's all coming together.
It's year 2.
Right.
This has been a great show. I really actually enjoy being with the 3 of you, and you too, Jason, as always.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Yes, thanks for joining us, you guys. And thanks to everyone for tuning in, and, keep your comments coming as you catch up later in the week. We know we have a lot of delayed this is on demand, so we get a lot of delayed viewers that then chime in with their questions, even though we're not live, which is fine. So, feel free to go in and clean that up as as necessary during the week, you guys. Okay.
All right.
Have a great week,
for having us.
guys.
Thanks.
Everybody,
You too.
Be
Talk-
safe.
Watching.
Happy
Be safe.
Tuesday.
as always. Take
Thank you.